Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I just wanted to come on and give a short little devotional thought that the Lord gave me, and I wanted to share with you. And it's about a mother in the Bible, not one that's really well known. In fact, have you ever wondered what happened to the Egyptian princess that adopted Moses? Well, this is a little bit about her. And you'll have to pardon me, I'm sick, so this allergy mess has just gotten to me, so I sound a bit raspy and nasally. But let's dig in a little bit. So Pharaoh's daughter is mentioned in Exodus 2, and then she kind of seems to disappear. But there's an interesting passage that you find in First Chronicles 4. And in First Chronicles 4, it's a genealogy of the tribe of Judah, not somewhere you really necessarily go to look for more information. But hidden in this text is a passage very fascinating. Ezra, we talk about a few different ones that, of course, have had children. And it speaks of Ezra that has a son named Mered. And then Mered has a couple wives. Well, let's read and pick up from here. In 1 Chronicles 4, 17 to 18, I'm reading from the Amplified because it's the most clear in the order of how this goes. The sons of Ezra, Jether, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. These are the sons of Bitthiah, daughter of Pharaoh, whom Mered took. She conceived and gave birth to Miriam, Shammai, and Ishba, the father of Eshtemoa. Mered's Jewish wife gave birth to Jared, the father of Gedor, Heber, the father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, the father of Zenoah. So, the Pharaoh's daughter, could that be the Pharaoh's daughter that drew Moses up from the Nile? Well, actually, yes. According to many, and I won't go into all the ancient texts, but there's several ancient texts that we can find that are primary sources for the Bible, as well as even some other ancient texts that we can refer to, that goes into actually saying that Bitthiah is indeed Moses' adoptive mother. So if that's the case, then let's do a little bit more digging into the background of who Bitthiah, this Pharaoh's daughter, was. Well, now there's a lot of research that will show that Hatshepsut, which I can never say her name right, Hatshepsut, that she was probably the mother of Moses, but that is not the case. There's a lot of reasons why that's not. And again, this is not a video to go into that lengthy discussion, but is more than likely it was her younger sister, Neferbiti. That was her name. She seems to have vanished from the Egyptian records around the time of the Exodus. And many assume that she died, but there's no actual death record or anything showing that she died, that she just vanished. Well, Neferbiti means beauty of Lower Egypt. And where did the Israelites reside? Lower Egypt, in Goshen. So she was the princess there in that region, that lived in that region. She was also between the ages of 6 to 11 when she found Moses. And most people who know about the story of Moses know that Moses means to withdraw by hand out of the waters. Well, in the Hebrew pictography that's used, the waters is also referenced for chaos and death. So she's withdrawn him from his death in the waters. Now, what we see in this passage in 1 Chronicles 4 is that because she saved and adopted God's child, God then adopts her and saves her and makes her his daughter. In fact, Bitthiah means daughter of God. So on the day she drew Moses out of the water by her own hands, God then began drawing her out of Egypt and later placed his mark on her as his daughter. Now, she is given a new identity, but not just any identity. She's given an identity into the tribe of Judah. This is the tribe that the Messiah, the Savior, Jesus, would come from. So is this not a foreshadowing? Would another virgin girl who raises a boy to become the Savior of God's people and make a covenant with them that would come out of Egypt be a foreshadowing of the Savior who also would come out of Egypt, that would bring a covenant to his people and would be the Savior of the world? Yeah, I think so. Well, we also see more of her story and confirmation that this is truly Bitthiah, Moses' mother, in the names of her children. her three children that are mentioned in First Chronicles 4. Miriam is the first one mentioned. And as we know, Miriam was Moses' sister. Well, clearly Miriam made an incredible impression on Bitthiah because she names one of her children after her. But Miriam has some interesting meaning. Her name means rebellious, bitter, multiple bitternesses, and rebellions, sea of bitterness. Well, Bitthiah chose to rebel against her father's house when she rescued and saved a Hebrew boy that she was told to kill. And then she rebels again when she escapes with the Hebrews when they go and depart from Egypt. But she's also in the middle of all these plagues. She's in the middle of that. And her homeland is being torn apart by all these, the blood, the hail, the livestock dying, all these things that are happening. She's in the middle of this. And she's experiencing all this bitterness and loss. And then she loses even more at the Red Sea when she's having to turn her back completely on everything. And everything is lost in the Red Sea that she has known all her life. Her second child is Shammai. Shammai means destructive, destruction, my desolations, clothed, cover, dress, raiment, my name. Her life during those plagues was shrouded with that desolation and chaos and destruction in the middle of all that. But she's given a new name and a raiment as she chooses to become a Hebrew. Ishba is her third child, and Ishba means he will praise, he will laud, he will soothe, he will appease, he will still praising and triumph. So out of all her bitterness and chaos and destruction and desolation and all these things comes a song of praise and triumph. Now God woos us as mothers. Many of us as children, as young girls, have the story and remembering of playing with dolls and wanting to be a mother, or maybe mothering our siblings. God puts that innate in us, and we see this even as with Bitthiah at a young age, who sees a baby that's in need. And in that moment, nationality, heritage, skin color, nothing mattered to her. All she saw was a life that needed to be saved, and her motherly instinct kicked in, and she saved and rescued this child out of the waters. In 1 Timothy 2:15, it says, a woman is saved in childbearing, or as the original language, it actually says child rearing, not specifically to give birth to a child, but in the rearing of a child. So her love for this child was not from her womb, began her on this journey that would take her out of Egypt and to receive a new name and identity. She could have easily brought up Moses in the palace with just the Egyptian culture and the gods, but instead she chose to raise him up in both the heritage of as an Egyptian prince, in the heritage of the Egyptian culture, but also with the knowledge of who Yahweh was and who he was as a Hebrew. And as a result, her son was trained to lead a vast army and to be a great ruler, but also to love his own people with a deep love for his people. So when he ran away after the murder of the Egyptian, her heart must have broken. But his return and the events that followed and his renewed identity in Yahweh rekindled something in her that caused her then to follow after Yahweh and the Hebrews, to become a part of their family that would keep her from ever turning back. And that choice led to God's new name for her. While she vanished from the Egyptian records, God wrote her name in his record and in his tribe. So the question now is this: what is your story? Can you say with triumph that God has brought you out of Egypt and given you a new name and a new identity? Or are you still on that journey of coming out of Egypt? Bitthiah made her choice when she chose to become a mother. When she chose to rescue a baby that was doomed to die, that was an innocent child that was supposed to be aborted and killed. And when she became a mother, she saved not only this baby, but many others and her own life. For some, motherhood fulfills lifelong childhood dreams, while others it's met with a lot of pain and heartbreak and desolations. And others, you may feel like you've lost your identity as a mother. And Bitthiah was in between two worlds. She was in between the Hebrew world and the Egyptian world, never really fitting in either one. But when the time came for her to choose whether she was going to be an Egyptian princess or a Hebrew mother, she jumped both feet in to becoming a Hebrew mother, and God was well pleased with her and gave her that new name. So she allowed God to draw her out of Egypt, just as she had drawn her little son out of the Egyptian waters, all because of that mother's heart. And God may be drawing you in different ways. Trust that when he draws you out, that you won't lose your identity and who you are. Instead, you'll find it. And the times that you think that maybe the decision that you're making, it may be scary, it may be overwhelming, and you may feel like everything that you've ever known is being taken away and you don't understand what the next step is. Know that when you put your faith into God, that he will take you where you need to go. He will adopt you in his family. He will save you. And your story is just beginning.